Hello students, welcome to 11th lecture of electrochemistry. In previous lecture we discussed about conductivity points and we observed that we can find limiting molar conductivity of strong electrolyte using graph. But we cannot find limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolyte even from the graph. Practically we can say that it is impossible to measure. So we have to find the way. So that's why Kohlrausch's law of independent migration was useful. And as we discussed, each and every ion present in electrolyte, whether strong or weak, at limiting molar conductivity point, they are independent from the effect of each other. That's why they give same type of conductivity in different type of electrolyte. So from that basis, we can calculate the limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes as well. Then we discussed about some numericals. If you find any difficulty on those numericals, feel free to ask. Now let us move on next point. So our next point is electrolytic cells and electrolysis. So as we discussed earlier, when chemical reaction generates electricity, it is called electrochemical cell. And opposite of electrochemical cell is electrolytic cell. In electrolytic cell, when we apply the electricity, we can get the chemical reaction. And we discussed about this type of cell in our Daniell cell point. When we attach external battery, then it can reverse the overall electric current direction. So opposite electrical direction gives opposite reaction, and at that time we are actually charging the cell, and the cell is electrolytic cell. So let us discuss in detail. In electrolytic cell, external source of voltage is used to bring out the chemical reaction. The electrochemical process are great importance in the laboratory and chemical industry. One of the simplest electrolytic cell consists of two copper strips dipped in aqueous solution of copper sulfate. If DC voltage is applied to the electrodes, then Cu2 plus ion discharged at the cathode, negatively charged, and the following reaction takes place. So as we know, on cathode reduction reaction takes place. So Cu2 plus ions will accept electron and you will get Cu solid. And the copper metal deposited on the cathode, at the anode, copper is converted into Cu2 plus ions by the reaction. Cu solid gives Cu2 plus and releases 2 electrons. So on anode you will get oxidation reaction. So here is an example of oxidation reaction. That means same type of metal strips gives different type of reaction. So let us discuss instrumentation. So this is the example of electrolytic cell. We have external battery here, and we have two copper strips on both of the electrode, and we have CuSO4 solution which contains Cu2 plus. Now as mentioned earlier, anode will be on left hand side, cathode will be on right hand side. So left hand side reaction will be, that means first we are talking about this electrode. It gives oxidation reaction. So this solid metal of copper will dissolve inside the solution as this reaction shows. Cu solid gives Cu2 plus ions and releases 2 electron. Now this released electron will travel towards the cathode using this conducting wire, and on cathode electrons will deposit on the surface and ions dissolved inside or present before the reaction. That means we have solution of CuSO4. So it contains Cu2 plus ions, and anode also contributes Cu2 plus ion in solution. So this Cu2 plus ion will feel attraction towards this electrode, and on cathode you will get reduction reaction as shown here. Cu2 plus will accept 2 electron and it gives Cu solid. So slowly copper metal present on the cathode will corrode. That means thickness of the electrode will decrease and mass on anode will decrease, and on cathode these ions will deposit as solid metal. So thickness or mass of cathode will increase. Okay, so this will be our observation, and this chemical reaction is occurring due to the external electrical source. So thus copper is dissolved, oxidized at the anode and deposited or reduced at the cathode. This is the basis of an industrial process which impure copper is converted into copper of high purity. That means impure copper will be placed as anode, and we will use thin wire of pure copper as cathode. When impure copper will give oxidation reaction due to the anodic effect. It is present at anode, so anode will oxidize, and copper metal present in impure copper strip will dissolve inside the solution, and these ions of copper will feel attraction towards the wire of cathode, and it will deposit on the wire, and that's why thickness of cathode will increase, which is very pure copper metal, and impurities will remain inside the solution. So this is the purification method of copper, and you will learn about it in metal extraction point or unit. Okay, so it is mentioned in that unit as well. Same reaction will be mentioned at that unit as well. So many metals like sodium, magnesium, aluminum, etc. are produced on large scale by electrochemical reduction of their respective cation, where no suitable chemical reducing agents are available for this purpose. Okay, so these metals are highly electropositive elements, so you cannot easily reduce them. For the reduction we need pure electricity, because all the other elements are comparatively less reactive than these type of reactive metals. So we cannot use any cheap option or cheap reducing agent to reduce them into metallic atoms. So sodium and magnesium metals are produced by the electrolysis of their fused chloride, and aluminum is produced by the electrolysis of aluminum oxide in presence of cryolite. It is mentioned in class 12 unit 6. Okay, so that unit is purely dedicated to metal abstraction from the earth crust. Now quantitative aspect of electrolysis, that means by using amount of electricity we can obtain desired quantity of metals. How? Let us discuss it step by step. So Michael Faraday was the first scientist who described the quantitative aspect of electrolysis. Now Faraday's law also flows from what has been discussed earlier. So Faraday's laws of electrolysis, it states, after his extensive investigation on electrolysis of solution and the metals of electrolyte, Faraday published his result during 1833 to 34, and from the following well-known Faraday's two laws of electrolysis are derived. So first law is the amount of electrical reaction which occurs at any electrode during the electrolysis by the current is proportional to the quantity of electricity passed through the electrodes. So amount of metal is proportional with quantity of electricity passed. That means it depends on oxidation state of metal, and if we pass, let us say, 1 mole of electricity, then for sodium 1 mole of electricity will give us 1 mole of metal. For let us say Mg2 plus magnesium, 1 mole will give us 0.5 moles of Mg2 plus, and for aluminium 1 mole of electron will give us 0.33 moles of aluminium. We will discuss this in detail. So second law is the amount of different substances liberated by the same quantity of electricity passing through the electrolytic solutions are proportional to their chemical equivalent weights. Atomic mass of metal divided by number of electrons required to reduce the cation. It is equivalent weight. And all of these points will be discussed with examples so we can understand it easily. So as mentioned, quantity of reduced species is proportional with electricity passed through the metals. So suppose you have Na plus ions in the solution, and if we are passing 1 mole of electrons, that means electricity equals to 1 mole of electron, then it will give us 1 mole of Na metal. But if you are using Mg2 plus, then 1 mole of electron will give us 0.5 moles of Mg metal. But if we are using, suppose for first reaction, if you are using 1 mole of electron, then 1 mole of Na will be obtained. But if you use 2 moles of electron, you will get 2 moles of metal. If you use 3 moles of electron, you will get 3 moles of metal. So as we increase or decrease the quantity of electrons, our product also affected. and they are in direct proportional relationship. Same thing can be obtained for second reaction. For 1 mole you will get 0.5 moles, for 2 moles you will get 1 mole, for 3 mole you will get 1.5 moles of Mg metal. So again same type of relation is being observed. With increasing amount of electrons or electricity, you will get more quantity of metals. If you decrease it, you will get less quantity of metal, and again they are in direct proportional relation. Now let us talk about the second law. So suppose we have two different cells joined in a series, okay, and then we are going to pass electricity from both of them. Okay, so we have two different cells like this, and they are connected with each other in a series with external battery. So suppose first is sodium solution, it contains Na plus ion, second is Mg2 plus ion. Now when we pass the 1 mole of electrons or 1 Faraday equals of electricity, then you will get 1 mole of sodium metal and 0.5 moles of Mg2 plus. Now if you measure or if you calculate the mass of the 1 mole of sodium or mass of 0.5 moles of Mg2 plus, then you will notice it is equal to equivalent mass of those metals. So that means when we attach or when we use two different metals or two different ions, and when we pass the electricity from them, then you will get equivalent mass of that metal. There were no constant current sources available during the Faraday's time. The general practice was to put coulometer, a standard electric cell, for determining the quantity of the electricity passed from the amount of metal, generally silver or copper, deposited or consumed. Whenever colorimeter are now obsolete, and we now have the constant current I source available and the quantity of electricity Q passed is given by Q is equal to IT, where Q is the coulombs, I is the ampere, and T is the time. So ampere multiplied by time in second gives the coulomb, and coulomb is a unit of electricity. The amount of electricity or required for the oxidation or reduction depends on the stoichiometry of electrode reaction. For example, for silver, 1 mole of electron gives 1 mole of metal. Now we know that the charge on one electron is equal to 1.6021 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs, and therefore the charge on 1 mole of electron is equal to quantity of 1 mole multiplied by charge of single electron. So 1.6021 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 19 multiplied by 6.02 into 10 raised to 23, which is equal to 96,487 coulombs per mole, and this value represents the Faraday. So in actual, Faraday is 1 moles of electron. Okay, so Faraday is equal to 1 mole of electron, but instead of mentioning them as electron, we are using electricity, but they represents the same thing. 1 Faraday represents 1 mole of electron, and 1 mole of electron is equal to 96,487 coulombs. And to reduce the complexity of calculations, 1 Faraday is considered as 96,500 coulombs per mole, so that our calculations will be comparatively simpler. So two reactions are mentioned. To obtain 1 mole of Mg metal from the Mg2 plus, we need 2 moles of electron, and similarly for aluminium we need 3 moles of electron. Now 1 mole of electron is equal to 1 Faraday, so that means we need to pass 2 Faraday current to obtain 1 mole of Mg2 plus, and 3 moles of electron represents 3 Faraday current to obtain 1 mole of aluminium. Okay, so this value can or an amount of electron directly represents amount of requirement of electricity in Faraday. So number of moles of electron directly represents Faraday. The charge passed through the electrolytic cell during the electrolysis is equal to product of current in amperes and time in second, as we discussed. Q is equal to IT. In commercial production of metals, current as high as 50,000 amperes are used, that amounts to about 0.518 Faraday per second. So 50,000 ampere, that means per 1 second it is equal to 0.518 moles of electron. Now numerical is mentioned, so we can calculate our description as mentioned here. The solution of CuSO4 is electrolyzed for 10 minutes with current of 1.5 ampere. So time is mentioned in minute, it is equal to 10 minutes, so we have to convert it into seconds, so it is equal to 600 second. Ampere is equal to 1.5 and solution is CuSO4, so it contains Cu2 plus ion. So what is the mass of copper deposited at the cathode? So first of all we need to find the value of Q. Q is equal to I into T. I is equal to 1.5, Q is equal to 600. So 1.5 multiplied by 600 is equal to 900 coulombs. Now for copper we need 2 moles of electron, and 2 moles of electron, that means 2 Faraday, and 2 Faraday, that means 2 multiplied by 96,487 to obtain 1 mole or 63 grams of copper. And for 900 we need to place cross multiplication. When 2 multiplied by 96,487 is equal to 1 mole or 63 grams, then 900 coulombs is equal to how many? So our reaction is Cu2 plus uses 2 moles of electron, that means 2 Faraday current, to get 1 mole of copper metal, which is equal to 63 grams. So 2 Faraday, that means 2 multiplied by 96,487 coulombs gives 63 grams of metal. Then we are passing 900 coulombs only from the solution, then it is equal to how many? So cross multiplication, that means 9,000 multiplied by 63, 9,000 multiplied by 63 divided by 2 multiplied by 96,487, and answer of this is the mass of metal. Okay, so steps are mentioned here. 63 multiplied by 900 divided by 2 multiplied by 96,487, which is equal to 0.2938 grams of copper metal. So remember these relationships. We have to calculate some numericals using this relationship in upcoming points. If you find any difficulty till this point, feel free to ask and properly understand relations mentioned here so that we can use them for other numericals as well. Thank you.